We were gonna start off with some basketball, but I think we should save that for last because you just got me really worked up bringing up
Just
football.
off that.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
got the juices flowing.
Okay.
So let's just kind of get right into what we saw, and it really all started on Thursday with the Chiefs, not the Chiefs. I'm so sorry, with the Rams and the Bills,
Yep.
and that game was entertaining to say the least. Not really. It was more of a
Mhm.
one-sided football game, but definitely a lot to take from it. What did you take from the defending Super Bowl champs? Because other than Cooper Cup, they did not look like they had their act together.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say the same. It was really disappointing that Allen Robinson didn't really do anything. I thought he would have a bigger role. He still might later on, but just for now, he didn't really have a good first week. Matt Stafford looked atrocious. So I wonder how much his elbow actually is a factor because they really underplayed that whole thing, and it's usually a baseball injury. But I do really wonder if that's a little bit more of a factor than they were letting on. Yeah, I was actually at the U.S. Open, uh, watching the women's semifinals, which was sick. Highly recommend. I know you've gone, but for
Yeah,
our 12 viewers, they should go.
I know. Yeah, I know we don't do too much. We really don't do any tennis content on this
No,
podcast, but I'm a big tennis guy, as you know. You're into tennis, and
Mhm.
both all the four of the semifinal matches, really except for the absolute blowout of Caroline Garcia, they were
Yep,
all just incredible matches, and the Tiafo Alcaraz match was phenomenal. And then I don't know if you watched any of the
I
Open
didn't watch the
Championship.
final.
Yeah, yesterday
Mhm.
Alcaraz won it all, and
Yeah,
that
I
was
saw
that
Alcaraz
was a
win.
fun match to watch too. Not too many viewers I feel like tuned in just because of football, but
Mhm.
Devin Booker and Kendall Jenner were there, so they must have enjoyed the show.
There you go. And I mean, the thing that was kind of a bummer is like when we were going to the semifinals. Obviously, you buy the tickets well ahead of time. I was just praying that Serena would be there. Um, but unfortunately she wasn't. Still, like Iga is so unbelievable.
Yeah, I
Made
don't
me
know. I don't know. It's more ridiculous. The Commanders selling $16 or $14 beers, or the
$14.
yeah, they're $14 a beer at the Commanders games, the highest beer in the NFL, or the $22 Melon Deuce from the U.S. Open.
Oh, dude, here's even better. So I bought two of the $22 Millen Deuce, and they didn't even have the cup.
That's just the whole part of it is the
I
cup.
know they ran
The
out. They
Yeah, the
ran out the
cups.
Sunday before, and it was Thursday when we
That's
went.
crazy. They make so many of those cups. They have all the champions on it from past years. It's just I actually have one right here. Let me go grab it. Right here.
Yeah,
Has
that's
all the
that's
champs on it.
that's actually really cool. Yeah, well, bummer. Still smells like the U.S. Open
Yeah, I had a one or two, and then
or four.
got a third one, and I was like, I don't think these are strong enough, so I asked for a double, and I was too a little bit incoherent to care about the price, and I'm signing a
Makes
check,
sense.
and I'm like, $38. Does that sound right? Like, screw it.
You know what
But
else is? You know what else is funny? So this is just another random piece of sports news that no one cares about. Did you see the thing with? So obviously, Adrian Peterson got his shit
you
rocked
got
by Le'Veon.
you got
Um,
smacked.
but did you see that they only could sell? So this stadium was 22,000 seats. They only sold 200 tickets and had to give away 1,000 for free just to fill some of the stadium.
That's sometimes they got to do that. Pretty crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like those matches are like you put them on pay per view. They're fun to watch. Like the I think this was his upcoming, like when he really kind of blossomed was um I think it was Logan Paul when he knocked out Nate Robinson.
Mm.
And they're just like, what is he doing in a ring with him? And he clearly just not on the same level competition wise. But that was like just it's all about the money in this pay per view. They just try to reel in the money and get people to watch absurd fights like that.
Yeah, Floyd basically sold just to get hundreds of millions of dollars against Logan Paul also. So
Yeah,
it's those Paul brothers, like people can call them stupid, which they are, but like they are
very
smart
successful.
they are smart business people. Like the way that they market themselves is very, very smart.
Yeah, definitely kudos to them for that. But getting back to the Thursday night game, just from what I saw,
Yeah.
Stafford obviously like he had that ongoing was it elbow or arm injury he was dealing with, the lingering issue, and he said he felt better than he did the year before, which is very interesting. But you have to give a lot of credit to the Bills, one of the best, if not the best, defense in the league.
Yep.
And them just coming at him and adding Von Miller was just, they had no answer for him. They made their offensive line look silly. So him struggling under pressure was definitely tough. But you have to, it's one game. They'll build off of it. Stafford will bounce back. They just need to find ways to use, which they were doing, but use Cooper Kupp as more of a decoy, and then that'll create opportunities for Allen Robinson, try to get him going. And then what do you make? What do you make of Cam Akers? He just, I don't know if it was an injury thing or if it was an off-field thing that they were angry with him about or something, but he barely saw the field that entire game after what people were, assuming he was going to be one of the top running backs coming into week 1.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, that was Twitter blew up over this, but so for those who didn't get to watch, basically Darrell Henderson, was slated as the second string running back, came in as the starter, played I think around 80% of the snaps. Really interesting development given how many people, especially in fantasy football, which we'll get into in a second. But fantasy football, people were drafting in the 3rd, 4th round, and that was he had a big old bagel, and that was unfortunate. I wonder if I saw something afterward that was he needs to prove it to Sean McVay that he will be good in pass protection and make the most of his reps. But if you remember when he came back last year to the playoffs, it was an insane turnaround for an Achilles injury that he was even playing, and he was wildly inefficient. So I guess maybe it carried over. Darrell Henderson was really good last year with his touches. So he's not just going to go away clearly, but the Rams were outmatched. The Bills didn't even have Tre'Davious White, and they just locked them down. Josh Allen is probably, he will be one of the MVP finalists, I think.
It's always a quarterback, so it has to be.
Right. Well, I just think of him, Herbert will probably be up there, and some other guys, but damn, he looked good.
Yeah, he looked phenomenal. He
Gabe
looked really
Davis.
strong.
Gabe Davis finally in a
sleeper pick.
Oh my god.
Stephon Diggs just balled out.
Yeah, he torched Jalen Ramsey so bad. Oh my god, that was such a joke. And then all the memes of Jalen Ramsey calling out Josh Allen come back to life.
He was telling him how trash of a quarterback he is, and then fast forward, and Josh Allen's literally teabagging him on the field.
Yeah,
that was unbelievable. But
hold on, I'm gonna share my screens because we could just go game by game.
Yeah, and just back to the Cam Akers thing. I noticed when they were doing the player introductions that Darrell Henderson announced he was the starter, and I was so confused. I was is this one of those situations where you just got the starting role, but Cam Akers is going to be more of the main guy? It was very confusing. So I think that just goes to show Sean McVay made this decision before the game that he would not be starting or just not playing, which I don't have Cam Akers in any of my fantasy leagues, so it didn't really affect me. But for people that do have him, it's very frustrating that they're, maybe it was just an underground detail and that they're keeping it to themselves. But as a fantasy manager, you have to be pissed off and be why did they not announce this before the game? And if I'm a fantasy manager, I'm personally they play the Falcons next week, and the Falcons D look pretty decent against the Saints, but
they look good.
Yeah, but the Falcons are not anything to be scared of. The Rams should easily win that game, but until he can prove himself, I would not put Cam Akers in your starting lineup.
Not me either. It's going to be really risky. Honestly, people are probably excited for the ones who got Darrell Henderson late, but I would want to wait another game to put him into.
Yeah.
So kicking off, God, I can't tell you how amazing it felt. Just when we were getting inching closer to that 1:00 slate, I was just finally.
Yeah.
Also, can you see the screen at all?
I can see it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's just go game by game. I don't think this is really in order, but I know the Eagles Lions were 1:00. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? What did you think of the Eagles offense? AJ Brown's obviously there now. James Bradbury played well. Like, how did you feel like they fared against the Lions? Because I feel like the final score doesn't really tell the full story.
Yeah, it really doesn't. The Eagles really dominated that whole entire game. We were really running away with it through 3 quarters. Yeah, you can see like we put up a donut in that last quarter, but it was just a tale of two different basing it off of the offense versus the defense. Just it looked like two different teams in a way because the Eagles' offense looked great. Jalen Hurts was mobile throughout the whole first half. He finished with like 90 rushing yards, which if you're a fantasy owner, that's great to see. And then once you get to that goal line situation for the Eagles, they just had so many weapons. Either they run a lot of that RPO, so either Jalen Hurts is going to run it in as he did, or he's going to hand it off to one of the 4 running backs, which Miles Sanders got one, which is good to see because he didn't cross the pylon once last year. Boston Scott got one. Kenneth Gainwell got one. So obviously, like when it comes to Eagles running backs, they rely on that run game heavily, and it's like as a fantasy owner, it's not a good thing to see, but as like a Eagles fan, it's great to see because they just have so many different options with that run game. And then 10 catches for 150 yards for AJ Brown was great to see. That connection will hopefully be there all season. No catches for Devonta Smith, which was very surprising to see. But the Eagles offense looked red hot. Their defense looked good at times. Like as a Giants fan, it probably hurt you to see James Bradbury getting a pick 6.
That didn't feel good.
But the Lions, like credit to them, like they're very well coached under Dan Campbell, and they definitely have options. Like we had no answer for DeAndre Swift, who had a day. Their receivers, St. Brown played very well. We made DJ Chark look pretty good. Hawkinson didn't do too much, but like I said, it was really a tale of two halves. And in that second half, they just kind of fought their way back. They got some stops. Made it a very nerve-wracking on our end towards the final 2 minutes because we very well could have not gotten that. It was like the last 3rd or 4th down play where they were able to get the first down to milk the clock out. And if they don't get that and they punt it away, could be a different story. But I mean, at least just as an Eagles fan, it was a great week 1 win. Their defense is going to have to step it up, though, because come Monday night, opening night against the Vikings and what Justin Jefferson did this past week.
Oh, is that who they're playing?
Which we'll get to. Yeah, that's
a tough matchup.
It's going to be a tough one for the Eagles at home. Jalen Reagor revenge game. I don't even know if he caught a pass. I definitely want to look that up real quick. But
I don't think he caught a pass, but he definitely was on. He was the punt returner.
Okay,
because he ran it like 10 yards ahead and he was like so hyped.
Yeah, I don't think he got any targets, but it'll like I would honestly just it'd be really funny just to see like first play of the game. Cousins just goes deep to Reagor for a touchdown. Like why not?
Why not?
But yeah, I think it was definitely fun to see football again. And Aiden Hutchinson looked pretty good for the Lions in his debut. Jared Goff, I feel like a lot of people sleep on him, but he had a pretty good game. Lions will have a tough season, but they're like they were last year. Like they're not a good team, but they're not a bad team.
They're gritty. Like I really, really think they're a gritty team. They only lost by like a field goal in like 7 games last year.
Yeah, that 63-yarder by Tucker.
Yeah, Tucky tucked it in. I'll say like obviously I have Jalen Hurts in fantasy, so it was a good day for me. I'll say like he looked horrendous throwing the ball to start the game.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, his final stats of 18 for 32 is it's okay. He had no throwing touchdowns, which if you watched the team at the end of last year, it's not really a surprise. The run game is like unbelievable. Every single running back had a touchdown.
Yeah, if it's broke, don't fix it. But definitely a good point made by you. Just about when it comes to his arm, that's kind of what's going to be under the spotlight this upcoming year.
Yeah, like there was a play in particular that stood out to me where like he had Gainwell in the flat right in the red zone, and he just completely underthrew him, and it hit the dirt. And I was just like, shit, like that if that's a complete pass, like Gainwell would have to probably take on some contact from the player who was coming downhill, one of the linebackers. But I mean, that could have been a touchdown right there if he threw it right. So
Yeah.
that was an interesting takeaway for me. But I thought they looked really good. AJ Brown's a huge addition to that team. And from the Lions side, yeah, Amon-Ra just kept going. He did like a 30% target share again. Chark looked okay. I think once they have Jameson Williams and he's healthy, that'll be really, really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Goff's underrated and their O-line is unbelievable, as per DeAndre Swift's 50-yard run to start the day.
Yeah.
But let's move it along to the Bengals and Steelers. And this one, I didn't really get to watch a lot of it, but I kept getting updates about Joey Burrow throwing like 3 interceptions, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he had 4 turnovers in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I think they didn't deserve to win this game, so it's not really surprising that the Steelers won. But Jamar Chase did his thing. Joe Mixon did his thing. Najee got hurt in this game, which people are speculating is a high ankle sprain, but we'll have to see. What do you make of like the Steelers honestly winning any games like is nuts? And there was, if you watch the end of this, like there were missed field goals left and right, which I feel like happens all the time and stinks for Evan McPherson, who is a really good kicker and loves the halftime show with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What do you make of that game?
Yeah, I mean, for the Steelers this year, it's going to be, if they're going to be kept in games, it's going to be their defense. They have one of the top defenses in the league. So
Yep.
they're going to have to lean heavily on their defense to help them out because, like you too, I didn't really watch most of the game, but their offense, from what I saw, just didn't look good. Like, Trubisky didn't do a whole lot. Like you said, Najee got hurt. Chase Claypool led the team in rushing yards with 36.
Yeah. And Higgins got hurt too.
Yeah, T. Higgins got a concussion, so that was tough for them to see. But Joe Burrow really bounced back in that second half. Like, he had a horrible first half. He threw the ball 53 times for 338 yards. And yeah, I mean, like their best player is pretty self-explanatory, is Jamar Chase. 10 catches. Yeah. I feel like he had a quiet day, and he had 10 catches for almost 130 yards and a touchdown. And he had another touchdown that was ruled incomplete, but he's just unbelievable.
He's unbelievable.
I think the Bengals will be fine. Like, they play Dallas, and without Dak, they should beat them on the road next week.
Dallas is in trouble.
Yeah, Dallas is in a lot of trouble, as they were to start the season.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that's just going to Joe, like, didn't have a good game, but he didn't have a terrible game. 5 turnovers for him isn't good, but he'll bounce back. They have enough weapons. It'll be interesting to see what happens with T. Higgins, how bad his concussion is. I'm assuming it happened in the game.
He apparently. I mean, that was another Twitter notification, because again, I just thought that this game in general would be boring as hell, which clearly it was. It wasn't until the very end, but he apparently, it was like a targeting thing, and he just got laid out. So I haven't seen it, but yeah. So that, I mean, we'll see how they fare. As long as Trubisky's winning, they're not gonna take him out of that game.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe Claypool will be the running back. Did you see Deontay's catch, actually?
Yeah, Deontay had a quiet day, but that one catch he had was unreal.
He caught
he's so talented.
Falling out of bounds.
Yeah.
He's insane. He really is so talented.
That OT was crazy, too, because McPherson missed that field goal in overtime, and then the Steelers just kind of marched down and won it after Boswell had a pretty bad day too. But
yeah, Boswell's like a really bad kicker. I have figured out over the years. So let's go to this one. I also didn't watch, but that's just because I knew it was just going to be a disaster game. Trey Lance's first start against Justin Fields. The weather conditions were so bad in this game. It will make for an image that I think that will be around the whole season, where Justin Fields, after winning, slides headfirst with some of the other team through the water and the grass, which was so sick.
Yeah.
It was so sick. But yeah, this was just, I don't really think there's many takeaways. This was a messy game too. Elijah Mitchell got hurt also and is expected to be out for several weeks. We'll see what happens with Jeff Wilson. So Trey Lance led the way, which is kind of expected. He had a tough day. Debo had a rushing touchdown, but only had 2 catches.
Yeah.
I think only had 3 catches. It was a really quiet day. Mooney had 1 catch for 3 yards, and Cole Kmet threw up a donut as well. So really bad day for pass catchers, which is, I guess, to be expected. I think the Niners will bounce back. I don't really think that there's too
Yeah,
much.
I mean,
It's
that's
surprising that the Bears won.
that was a very surprising loss for them. They just didn't look good. Other than Debo, they got no offense going at all. Bears have a pretty solid D, but the Bears are bad. They have no offensive weapons whatsoever. Montgomery didn't do much. Justin Fields, for his second year, he looked pretty good, but bad weather conditions, and the Bears just aren't a good team. So for the 49ers, you have to be disappointed.
Yeah, I don't really do. I mean, do you have? I don't think there's much more to say about that one.
No.
That was another not exciting game.
Definitely exciting to see Trey Lance get out there, but he didn't really do anything. So
we can.
But it will be interesting just to bring up. They're obviously they're relying on him, but I would not be surprised at all to see the Cowboys try and go after Jimmy Garoppolo.
I thought the same thing. I think I don't believe that Jerry will let them lose that many games.
Cooper Rush is not the answer.
Cooper Rush is trash. I'm sure they've already started calling the Niners. But listen, this is exactly why the Niners extended Jimmy G. They extended their window to trade him. This is a perfect opportunity. This is I don't know if it's the exact same thing, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing that what happened to Russell Wilson last year with the finger. The Cowboys look fucking horrible. Their O-line is trash. Granted, they were going against a good D-line, but their O-line is garbage. And another guy got hurt on the starting O-line.
Mm-hmm.
The run game was terrible. Tony Pollard and Zeke looked really only fair.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb didn't do anything as the number one.
Yeah, he had 2 catches, literally nothing. I'm sure they're going to target him a lot next week against the Bengals, but yeah, they did not look like a team ready to compete.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're just talking about it. We're kind of going all over the place now, but whatever. I think if you're relying on CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz in fantasy, you have to be shitting your pants now. That is not good. They are going to be terrible. And speaking of teams that, I thought were terrible, the Falcons honestly held their own against the Saints. I mean, in typical Falcons fashion, they blew the lead, as they do. It's what their franchise is honestly best at.
Yeah.
And, man, I mean, Mikey Thomas had a day.
Yeah.
First game in 2 years. He had a great day. Jarvis had a great day, which was surprising.
Yeah, Jameis looked pretty solid.
Looked good. Jameis looked pretty damn good. And Mark Ingram as a backup, because I know Alvin also got hurt during the game. Mark Ingram is looking pretty solid too. I think the Saints are going to be better than people thought.
Yeah, I mean it was really a tale of two halves for them, because in the first half they were beat. They're down 16-7 at half, and then they came out and got a field goal, but the Falcons looked like they had that game won. Just crazy. They were up 23-10, something like that.
Yeah.
They had that game won. Marcus Mariota actually looked pretty decent.
He looked good.
I
was surprised.
A lot of people, I don't know why they slept on Cordero, but he played very well. He's pretty much their offense. Drake London had a pretty good first game as a rook. They're not as bad as people make them out to be, that's for sure, but their defense definitely needs some work, and they let one slip away from them.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that AJ Terrell is probably one of the best young cornerbacks in the league, and Michael Thomas just dominated him.
Yeah.
Clearly the talent isn't gone. his question will be health. But man, if they're all healthy and Olave looked pretty decent too,
Yeah,
that's
they
going
could,
to be a very decent team.
yeah,
I
they'll
think.
definitely be giving the Bucks a run for their money in the NFC South. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think the Falcons will actually be pretty competitive. Kyle Pitts didn't really have a good game. He had 7 targets, only 2 catches. I think that'll flip flop. I think he'll have a good game. And Drake London, having not practiced for a month, looked unbelievable.
Yeah,
So that was
I had a
very
feeling that
surprising
was
as
going
well.
to happen.
Okay, here we go. Giants Titans. I cannot believe we won a game. I came into it thinking, look, I said this before the game started. The one thing I really wanted to see is just a competitive game. If we can keep it within 1 score, I was going to be really happy with that, and to see like some innovation on the offense. That's all I wanted. In no way did I ever think we would win.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry is did Derrick Henry things and still somehow managed 80 yards. But the defense, I mean,
They kept him
our
in check.
defense played well for how horrible personnel-wise we are. Like, they really held their own for the most part. And Saquon, man, he is back.
Yeah, as a Giants fan, you got to love to see that, just health-wise and just performance-wise. He single-handedly won you guys that game because Danny Dimes did not look good, in my opinion.
Yeah, Danny Dimes, I said, has I texted Ryan this. I was like, Danny Dimes has the football IQ of a
squirrel
of Plywall, because one of the ones he was reading the edge on a read option. The move was not to keep the ball because the edge was taking an angle at the quarterback, and he kept it anyway instead of giving it off to Saquon, and just got demolished.
And even his one interception, which your head coach gave him an earful for on the sideline afterwards, like, I'm sure that's a play that they practiced a bunch, but like, what are you doing throwing a end zone fade to Saquon in the back of the end zone? Like,
when he was covered, he was blanketed.
And it's like, even if he wasn't covered, it's just not a good option when you're in the red zone, in my opinion. And it's just a terribly underthrown ball.
Terrible ball. He had another fumble, which is basically good for 1 a game. But I mean, look, I'll say, like, the O-line had really good run blocking, which for a young unit was really nice to see. And Shepard looked pretty good off of torn Achilles. I was surprised when he broke one for a touchdown. That was awesome.
Very happy I didn't touch Kenny Galladay.
Oh my God. Yeah, Kenny Galladay didn't do anything. He had 2 catches. Kadarius Toney didn't play even when Wan'Dale Robinson got hurt. So that'll be interesting. From the Titans side, I think that the Titans are going to be a middle-of-the-pack team. My opinion, I don't think that they have much talent. I never thought that they had much talent the past few years, but losing A.J. Brown, Treylon Burks did solid, I'd say. Their other rookie actually played really well. That other rookie that they have, Kyle Phillips out of UCLA, he was really good, actually.
Yeah,
I think he led them.
Robert Woods didn't do much.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, like, a quiet, 21 touches for 80 yards, and it's like, if he's not getting in the end zone 3 times, it's considered a bad game for him. But
Derrick Henry can't catch a cold.
Yeah, Giants D did a pretty good job taking care of him. Did they beat the Titans last year too?
I don't know if we played the Titans last year. We played the Titans a couple years ago and lost.
But yeah, I don't know. Titans just don't look as good this year, but we'll just have to see if they can regroup. And from a Giants perspective, you obviously love to see them win, but they're not going to be very competitive this year, at least in the NFC East.
That's true.
We'll have to wait and see, like, how they do. But I just think, like, if I were a Giants fan, I want to see them lose. And I only say that because obviously I like seeing you guys lose, but I say that because I don't know how much you watch college football, Jay, but
yeah, I do.
Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are the real deal. And I'd rather have either of them on my team than Daniel Jones.
Yeah, there's some good quarterbacks.
We talked about this in the preseason, just how, like, this really is Danny Dimes' last chance. And if he doesn't do anything productive this year, they have to go a different route. But at the same time, like if they win games like these and have a pretty decent season and they don't have a top 6 pick, they're not going to get one of those quarterbacks. So
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I feel like I've played the draft game of like, oh, at least we'll get a better draft pick for years. So to watch a competitive game where like they're actually well coached is because and under good leadership too, like from Joe Shane. I just I love watching that more than I want to see them lose. I mean, they have a very, very winnable next few games with like the Panthers and the Cowboys, who now don't have Dak, and they have one other game that's like not a tough matchup. So they could really realistically start 4-0. Whether they can continue that, probably not. But look, I'd love to see them win a little bit more. And they'll have to figure out some kind of offense because Saquon is not going to be able to handle everything.
yeah,
Like he had like 9 targets in this game too. But yeah, no. Do you see Derrick Henry just like absolutely miss? Like he had a direct snap to him. They were doing a wildcat, and he just missed it. The man can't catch a cold. The Patriots and the Dolphins game. This one was atrocious. Matt Patricia calling the offense for the Patriots is horrible.
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson barely touched the ball. Ty Montgomery off an injury had more touches. Tua badly underthrow Tyreek Hill a few times, but he's Tyreek Hill still. He's so goddamn good.
He is so good, but that was kind of one of the reasons I was avoiding him in fantasy drafts, is just because I don't think Tua is very good. And I'm sure you saw that one replay where he was wide open in stride for a touchdown and he way underthrew him, and like he was under pressure, but like I don't know, man. They're both just bad teams. They're not going to be playoff teams, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
I feel bad for Mac Jones because I really do think he's a great quarterback. He just has no offense, really.
And offensive line. Like they traded Shaq Mason to the Bucs.
No offensive line. Their defense has taken some steps backwards from how good they've been over the years. Bill Belichick, I think he's seen better days. His days are probably numbered. And the Finns will be fine this year. Like they're a competitive team. Like Jalen Waddle got a tutty. Like they have their weapons. If they can get Chase Edmonds going, they'll be just fine. But not a very entertaining game to watch for a reason.
Yeah, I didn't care at all about this game. Marin's my girlfriend's a big Patriots fan, so we had it on, but it's really hard to watch. They're so boring of an offense. And Mac actually got hurt also, so we'll have to see. Hopefully he's okay. All right, we don't really need to say much about this game. There's not much to say. Shout out Jack. I don't know. He must want to hate himself because who would want to be a Jets fan? Not me.
I just loved all the Jets fan and all the optimism they have coming into this year. Thinking my one friend thought that they were going to make it a competitive game because it was Joe Flacco revenge game, and I just can't help it. I just keep my mouth shut and laugh on the inside because the Jets are rebuilding, but they're a bad team.
They are terrible.
Bad team.
They're bad team. I mean, Garrett Wilson, it was their 10th overall pick, didn't see the field as a starter, which is wild. Joe Flacco was atrocious, which was probable. But honestly, I'll say this though about the Jets. One positive, their defense really did hold Lamar.
I was gonna say like the Ravens, even though they won that game, they didn't like blow it away. Like they didn't look anything special. Like Lamar did his thing, but other than Lamar, like their offense is going to be interesting to watch this year because Mark Andrews had a pretty quiet game. Like he found Rashad Bateman for a touchdown, but he didn't really do too much. And it's going to be interesting to see when J.K. Dobbins is going to be ready to go because they had zero running game going. Kenyon Drake didn't do anything. Mike Davis is washed. So other than Lamar with his legs, and he didn't really run the ball that much.
No, he didn't.
The Ravens' offense just doesn't look scary this year to me.
No.
But we'll just have to see what happens with them, and we'll have to see what happens with Lamar and the whole contract.
Yeah. He also turned down that enormous deal, which would have had him more paid than Kyler and Russell Wilson, but he's betting on himself, so we'll have to see. And I don't really think there's much more to say about that. Jaguars and the Commanders was an interesting game.
Carson Wentz balled out.
Which I feel like happens once a year.
Yeah, I mean the Jags are atrocious, but it's pretty. I think it was like just as his debut for the Commanders, and also after what happened last year with his final game with losing to the Jags.
Exactly.
He knew he had to win that, and that game was a lot closer than it's made out to be.
Yeah.
But Carson Wentz looked pretty damn good. I will say that.
They look good. John Dotson looked good.
Yeah.
Terry actually wasn't really targeted much, but he caught a touchdown.
Yeah, he had a quiet game. They got Gibson going, which was pretty good to see.
He was good, Gibson. He had a good game.
Jahan Dotson, his rookie debut with 2 tutties, like good for him.
Good for him. And also Curtis Samuel, after being out the entire year last year, he played really well too.
Yeah.
Which was cool to see. He really never had a real game that was played with the Commanders until this game. So that was all good. The bad for my fantasy team, James Robinson, man, I don't understand how it's possible that he could play like that well off an Achilles tear. He looked explosive. He was catching the ball well. Like, he looked damn good. And ETN looked really, really explosive and fast, but like James Robinson's getting all of the work to start. And he's a capable pass catcher. He'll get the goal line work. Like, James Robinson might look like a huge steal for drafts, but also in real life. Like, he's playing well.
Yeah, and Trevor Lawrence, who had a decent day. Like, he didn't do anything special, but he made Christian Kirk, and every single penny he got looked like it was worth it. So
yeah, Christian Kirk, the 4th highest paid receiver in the league. But hey, he balled out too.
Yeah,
then they have like guys like Zay Jones, Marvin Jones, like different random guys sprinkled in there.
Yeah,
who are fine. This I think we got to get to the next one because this is one of the best ones to talk about.
Oh yeah, there's so much that went into this game.
So before the Browns Panthers game started, Baker's traded, right? Baker tells reporter, "I'm gonna f him up." Baker does not f them up.
Nope.
And I said to Henry beforehand, I was like, "Look, like this, the way this is gonna go is either Baker is going to light them on fire, or he's losing, and there's no in between."
Yeah, I mean they looked horrible in the first half. That's for sure.
This was an atrocious game. I watched the first half and had to change it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was bad. He got a little bit more going in the second half, but like McCaffrey got a touchdown, but he had a quiet day. Like only 4 catches. Like they didn't really get him going. DJ Moore didn't really do much.
Nope.
And like they made the Browns look like a decent football team for how bad Jacoby Brissett is. But Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt is pretty much their whole offense. All these storylines, just like without Deshaun, like they probably would have blown them away. But like Amari Cooper, they couldn't get him going.
Nope.
Donovan Peoples-Jones didn't really get going. So it's really going to be the Chubby Cunt show.
Nice. Yeah, it will. There's the fact that Browns won this game is, I mean, that just is more showing how bad the Panthers are, I think, than how good the Browns are. Jacoby Brissett was so unbelievably average in this game, as he is as a quarterback. But Baker did not look that good, and that must suck to lose to your old team in your new stadium as a opener. That sucks. DJ Moore, I hope picks it up, but like he like
Enter, give it a
really
couple weeks. I'm sure we'll see enter Sam Darnold real soon.
You think? Like once Sam Darnold's back off IR, you think
Yeah.
he might? That team is so garbage. Matt Rule's gonna get fired immediately after this year.
Oh yeah.
This one, I can't believe we already have a tie of the year.
The Colts just look bad, and a lot of people were telling me before the game, like, don't sleep on the Texans, and like, oh, I'm sleeping. Like, I have no faith in Davis Mills. Like, Brandon Cooks is pretty much like their offense, but I have no faith in the Texans. Like, that could be their only win of the year, and it's not even a win; it's a tie. But like, that could very well be the only glory that come the Texans' way this year. And Matt Ryan just didn't look good. Like, Johnny T did Johnny Thing type things. Michael Pittman played very, very well, but they just couldn't really get anything going in the first half. They didn't get anything going until the end of the game. They only had 3 points till the fourth quarter.
It was 20-3.
Yeah, like another blown game.
I just can't believe that the Colts didn't come in with more urgency given what happened last year.
Yeah.
In a week 18 game.
Yeah.
Nothing mattered except for the Colts. And the Colts were supposed to beat the Texans, who were one of the worst in the league, and then didn't make the playoffs. Like, that's embarrassing. Davis Mills is not that good of a quarterback. They're going to be in the quarterback market for sure, but I mean, nothing happened outside of Brandon Cooks. Dameon Pierce, who was supposed to be the starter, everyone was loving him in the fantasy community, especially.
Yeah.
Didn't even start really. Like, Rex Burkhead had like 80% of the touches.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell they're doing. So Michael Pittman justifying my third pick on him. Loving that.
Yeah. I mean, that was a great pick. And then this Packers game, I really thought from the beginning, with the line being what it was, the Vikings were like 1.5 point favorites or something like that. But I just thought at home, and with Allen Lazard being ruled out, and just like all the complaints Rodgers had with his receivers heading into week 1, I thought the Vikings were going to come out strong. And I didn't think Justin Jefferson was going to do what he did, but he was obviously the best offensive player this week. And unless somebody in the Monday night game goes off, which won't happen probably, but.
You mean Rashad Penny?
Picking up your pennies. But yeah, Justin Jefferson was grading all over the place, and the Vikings looked really good, and I'm definitely nervous for them coming into next Monday.
Yeah.
But, Kirk looked pretty good in his first game. Good. Dalvin had like a quiet game, but they really just didn't need much offense with Justin Jefferson just being unstoppable. Like, he was just having his way with the Packers. And
this doesn't tell the full story either, because this happened almost all exclusively in the first half.
Yeah, and he had like another 2 touchdown opportunities, so he could have blown off for 50+ fantasy points if he really wanted to. But kind of like what I was talking about going into the season, the tail of the Packers is really just going to be their run game, and Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon having to produce, because Christian Watson had a wide open touchdown he dropped.
That's so bad.
I mean, even with Allen Lazard coming back, like it's another target, but he's not going to make them any better, in my opinion. So I just think it's going to be a very long, long season for Mr. Rodgers.
What do you make of? I mean, the Packers. The thing that's crazy is the Packers have a very good defense, and the Vikings just torched them. So I mean, that was insane. But like, what do you make of A.J. Dillon having more targets than Aaron Jones? That was interesting. Like, we thought he'd get the rushing work. That makes sense. But you would think the high value touches really would go to Aaron Jones, who has proven over the last 4 years that he's a stud. But look, A.J. Dillon's a good player. I just thought it was wild that he had more opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the reasons I kind of avoided Aaron Jones in drafts, was because I knew that A.J. Dillon was going to get a lot of goal line touches, and I just thought that they were going to need to use him a lot more in this offense based off of just losing Devontae, who, we'll get to. He had an unbelievable debut for the Raiders. But, yeah, I just think the Packers are in a lot of trouble, too. Like, they have their home opener against the Bears, who like Rodgers doesn't lose to the Bears. He owns the Bears, as he's made quite clear. But like,
yeah,
it's gonna go one of two ways. They're either gonna blow them out, or it's gonna be like come down to a field goal. Like the Bears like didn't look bad. They have nothing to lose. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it's a closer game than the Packers would like it to be.
totally.
And then Patrick,
Radical, dude.
What do you make of Patty Mahomes like coming in and just lighting it up as he does with 5 tutties?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I almost put down. So I did a parlay where I hit everything. Hilariously enough, the Texans, I had the Colts winning, obviously, which just got canceled. That part of it is voided because of the tie. So I had the Chiefs for another additional $80 winning, and I was like, I feel like Kyler Murray might be able to do Kyler Murray things. Nope.
You thought
Chiefs just steamrolled them. Oh my god. Patrick Mahomes threw it to everyone. Almost everyone had a touchdown. I think Juju didn't. Did he?
No, I don't think he did, but he definitely got his share.
Yeah. Oh my god. It was unbelievable. Travis Kelce killed it. Isaiah Pacheco played really well in a very small role.
Yeah.
Once they were like up a lot is when he came in and he played great. Clyde had a great game too. And then I mean, look, like they didn't miss a beat not having Tyreek Hill. Oh, greatest storyline of that game, Justin Reed kicker.
Yeah. Harrison Butker got hurt, right?
Yeah.
And he was drilling them in the preseason game. So
he missed one really bad. Like really, really bad. But
it's a lot of pressure.
He made one.
Yeah.
So that's what counts. 1 for 2. It's better than the average kicker.
And the Cardinals are definitely another team that's just in trouble. Like they're a different team without Hopkins out there. And Ertz was coming into the game injured. Hollywood Brown got a touchdown, but they just need to get him more touches.
Rondell Moore,
Kyler just didn't look great. Like the Chiefs blew them away. It's hard to beat a team that puts up 44 points, but
they're on 2 different levels. Like we knew the Cardinals' defense wasn't going to be great, but their offense didn't look good either.
No, they didn't. They did not look very good, and it's going to be a tough season for them. They have the Raiders next week, and then after that they have the Rams. And then quick 0-3 start for them most likely.
And so the fun stat is, I think I'd have to double check this. I'm pretty sure that every single Packers receiver combined did not have as much receiving yards as Davante Adams in his debut.
Yep. They had like
17 targets.
Yeah.
What do you make of this game? What were your thoughts going in too?
I mean, I just thought this was going to be the game of the week. Just seeing Davante's debut and the Chargers, who I have as my Super Bowl favorite this year. I knew Davante was going to eat, and after Waller got his contract, I wanted to see him play well, but they're just a complete team. Both of these teams really, like Derek Carr, like 3 interceptions. The Chargers have a very good defense, especially with Khalil Mack now. So expected him to have to have a rocky start, but Justin Herbert's just the man, and like
he's so good.
Eckler had a pretty quiet game, but like they can always get him going. And Keenan Allen got hurt. Mike Williams didn't really do much, but the Chargers are just such a complete team, and as long as everyone can stay healthy, there's no reason why they won't be competitors this year. And then the Raiders just like Derek Carr needs to like Davante Adams went off 10 catches, 141 yards and a touchdown, but he's got to find a way to spread that ball around more to like utilize Waller and Renfrow as weapons. Because when you have 3 guys on your team that are weapons, you're going to be hard to stop. And they don't really have much of a rush game with Josh Jacobs back there.
Mm-hmm.
So Derek Carr is going to have to figure that out.
And I would agree with all that. I mean, the Chargers were people thought there's a shot that they'd be Super Bowl contenders. I think that's still a chance. They look pretty damn good. The Raiders look good too, man. I mean, I think that they're going to be a pretty damn good team.
That'll be a fun game to watch next week with the Cardinals because they're both hungry for a win.
Yeah.
First time Raiders fans will be seeing Devontae Adams. Yeah, it'll be a fun one to
He
watch.
is,
Get
he
your
is so
popcorn
freaking
pop.
good. And then all right, so let's just preview this game. The Broncos, the Seahawks. I mean, I don't really have much to say. Like,
Before we get to that, I just wanted to highlight one more thing. Like,
yeah, what's up?
we touched very briefly on the Cowboys game and just
Yes.
Sunday night and how much trouble they're in right now with Dak breaking his thumb and
Yep.
needing surgery and the running game being non-existent. CD, like I thought, like he is very, very talented. Don't get me wrong, but I had my doubts going into the season with him stepping into that wide receiver one role. It's going to be interesting to see what he's going to be able to produce. But really, the storyline of that game was just amazingly enough to see the Bucs still have it. Tom Brady coming out of his 2-month retirement, just stepping back out there. It was fun to see him somehow seeing, like, I can't believe Chris Godwin got out there.
He got hurt again though.
Yeah, after tearing his ACL and then he got hurt again. I think it was a hamstring injury.
Yeah,
maybe,
it was like it looked like he hyperextended it, but
how unreal was that catch by Mike Evans, that touchdown catch he had?
Oh man,
Mike Evans just is an absolute monster, and you gotta love seeing them incorporating in Julio Jones into that offense.
Julio getting a like 60-yard downfield catch.
Yeah,
I was
he had like 2
Jesus.
touches for like 20 yards. He had a couple carries, which was fun to see.
Yeah, it's cool. I wonder who they'll lean on when Godwin's going to be out the next few weeks. I wonder who they'll lean on. I mean, I think they're going to give a shit ton to Mike Evans, but like someone's got to step up because
Uncle Lenny played really well.
Lenny played well, but he got hurt too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he'll be fine, but Gage is playing hurt, and so he was pretty quiet. But yeah, I mean, Julio looked pretty damn good. He looked horrible with the Titans, and
yeah,
the Bucs revived. Not that he was spent, but like they revived AB's career.
I'm spent. Austin Powers. But yeah, let's get into this.
TikTok. What?
Let's get into this Monday night game. Just such a great Monday night game to start off with. Russell's homecoming. He's gonna get
oh my god,
a hell of an ovation, that's for sure. And he's just gonna light them up like the 4th of July.
He's going to whoop them.
Which
my god, this is gonna be an annihilation.